What does that mean? Women from your country are more likely to do that. Do what? Sleep with their best friend's husbands? It sounds like a demand disguised as a favor.
Let's go.
Yeah?
I don't want to pimp out my dog, right?
Hey guys, I'm V and you're tuned into Honey Hearts. Now today we are here to laugh, judge, and have a little bit of fun with some Reddit stories. Today's topic is the resistance is alive and well. As you can probably tell, there's some level of refusal or resisting from OPs because boundaries are being pushed and they're trying to push back. So let's get into it. Our first story is from the subreddit AITAH. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lend my friend my house for her wedding after she asked me for a paternity test, resulting in her having to cancel the wedding? My friend Sandra and I have known each other for over 20 years. We are 30 to 32. Sandra is getting married to Andres. Andres? I think it's Andres. And I am married to Ian. Some relevant information. Andres and I come from the same country and even the same region. We share many characteristics. We both have very round faces, deep brown eyes, long straight black hair, etc. If you didn't know better, you might assume we're siblings. I met Andres 6 years ago and introduced him to Sandra. He proposed 2 years ago. I own a beautiful property in my home country that I was ready to lend to Sandra and Andres for their wedding. My property is like a finca. A finca? What is a finca? Wait, let me see what a finca is. Like, I'm kind of assuming a magical estate or some sort of desert vacation home for some reason. Let's see. Okay, so a finca is an estate. It looks pretty nice. This is what I'm envisioning as OP's home. You want to see?
Sure. Oh, interesting.
Yeah? Desert vacation home vibes, right?
Yeah.
OP says, my property is like a finca. Finca? Oh man, you guys will have to correct me. My property is like a finca and has 10 rooms. Usually I would rent it out for weddings at a somewhat high price, but I was happy to give it to them at no cost with the condition that they hire their own catering and have their guests strip their beds when they leave. The issue. 3 months ago, Sandra became more reclusive. She wouldn't answer my texts and we did meet up. 2 weeks ago, she appeared at my door with Andres. They sat us down, my husband included, and said she suspected that my daughter is actually Andres' biological daughter and requested a paternity test for peace of mind. I was so shocked that I couldn't say anything. My husband lost his temper and raised his voice, telling Sandra that she was being absolutely stupid. Sandra pointed out that my daughter looks like Andres. I explained that Andres and I look alike. She kept shaking her head, saying my daughter would look more like my husband and not like my exact copy. So much happened in such a little snippet of time. I'm confused with Sandra's assumption because it seems like, okay, if we buy into what OP's saying is that OP and Andres just literally look similar because they're from the same country, they share physical characteristics. It kind of makes sense that their kid who looks like OP would look a little bit like Andres, I guess. But to doubt your friend of over 20 years and go up to her and her husband and say, hey, I demand a paternity test be done on your daughter. I'm assuming, as OP's the one putting the story up on the Reddit, that OP didn't cheat and that Andres isn't even related to her daughter.
I mean, that is a wild accusation.
It is so out of the blue. Because they look
But is it
alike?
out of the blue or was there some backstory to what happened?
Maybe there's backstory. But I'm kind of doubtful though because OP introduced Andres to Sandra, her friend.
I don't see how that's relevant.
Well, because she helped pull them together. So for her to be cheating with Andres is kind of crazy. But we have had besties cheating with their best friend's husband and boyfriend. So I guess we shouldn't be too surprised. Let's see if there's context. OP says, the evening ended poorly. Yeah, I bet. I agreed to the test if they paid for it. The results came back last Friday showing that Andres was not the father. We also did a test confirming that my husband is the father. Sandra cried and tried to hug me. I told her I didn't want to and that I didn't want to be friends with her for the time being. She kept saying her worries were justified and made a comment about, quote, women from your country being more likely to do that.
What?
Ooh. Okay, first off, the audacity for Sandra. Okay, if she's insecure and she has her own doubts, whatever, but demanding the paternity test when there's no real reason, it doesn't seem like there was any other evidence other than Sandra just thinks that the daughter and Andres look alike. The Her best friend's daughter and her husband look alike. Even after the test, I don't know that if I was in Sandra's position, I would be brave enough to hug my bestie and go, "Oh my god, this is so great." No, you just brought all this drama into their relationship for no reason, into their house too. I think my biggest red flag though is the comment, "Oh, women from your country." So Sandra just outed herself as a racist. I'm I'm confused. The stereotyping, the what does that mean? Women from your country are more likely to do that. Do what? Sleep with their best friend's husbands? And based on the initial, I guess, prompt from OP, we know OP is giving Sandra a free wedding venue. So is this not Sandra also shooting herself in the foot? How does this work? You know what? Who needs enemies when you have friends like her? Oh my gosh. OP says, in that moment, I was filled with anger. I told her she could forget about using the venue and that I didn't want her in my life anymore. She started crying, but I made her leave. Her mom and her have been texting me saying they can't find a new venue. I still said no. 20 minutes ago, Sandra called me sobbing, saying that the wedding is off because of me. Am I the a-hole? Should I have let her use the venue at the usual price? Or was what I did okay? Let me answer the first set of questions. OP is not the a-hole. You should not let her use the venue at the usual price or at all. You can charge her double the price. I would be petty. I would go the petty route here. And what OP did, yanking away the venue, is totally okay. Usually I want to separate problems, right? Tomatoes with tomatoes, potatoes with potatoes. But this is all interlinked. I mean, the only reason why OP was giving her the venue to use was because they're best friends of over 20 years. Quick interruption to the story. If you guys are enjoying this, don't forget to hit the like button and smash subscribe. Thanks, guys. And then I didn't see an apology. I saw zero apologies or remorse from Sandra. There was only relief, like, oh, thank goodness you didn't sleep with my husband. Hello?
I mean, playing devil's advocate here, but
What other sign could there be?
I mean, I see Sandra's actions are not justifiable in any way, but did Sandra's husband perhaps do something to make Sandra think that OP was potentially cheating with her husband?
So in the prompt, we don't see anything from OP's story. But it looks like Sandra seems to say that the whole thing is, oh, they look alike. The daughter and Andres look alike. And that's the main reason why Sandra is all of a sudden saying, no, daughters look like their dads. And OP's daughter looks like Andres. So let's see. It's funny that you mentioned the husband because there is an edit about the husband. Edit Andres was not chill about this. He seems exasperated. He was quite upset and basically just agreed to this so she would drop it. I didn't include it because I did not see the relevance for the conflict between me and her. There is a quick update too. But does that make you feel any other way? The husband basically agreed to the whole thing, was just doing it to please the wife.
I mean, yeah, that sounds normal. Nothing strange about that, I guess.
I kind of like that everyone just agreed to test. I mean, it's horrible that they were asked to do it, but I like that no one put up a fight and it was more like, this is so dumb. All right, we'll do it to please Sandra. It seems like Sandra's just brushing past this whole venue issue. And now she's just saying, oh, I still need your venue though. Our relationship might be dead, but I still need to get married. So,
I mean, the whole reason she got the venue was because of the relationship. If there's no relationship, there's no venue, right?
yep. Well, that's what I would think. I would say OP would be justified if she wanted to do the venue to just double the price or something. Or like charge normal or up.
I mean,
If
it's
she really
completely up to
wanted to do
her.
it.
She doesn't have to do anything, right?
Nope.
I mean, I
I
think
don't
at
think
this
so.
point, if I was in those shoes, I would not rent out the place to Sandra at all.
Do you think Sandra, right? Sandra called OP crying and saying that the wedding's off now because of her. That Sandra's to blame.
I mean,
I mean, that OP's to
that's not
blame.
a surprise, and it's not even. I mean, it's definitely not OP's fault. Sandra's fault.
So I did look up the price of the paternity test because I was curious. They're not okay. They're not that crazy, but they're ranging from 100 to like 300 ish. At least it looks like from US prices that I saw. So there's an update. Update, they're no longer together. Sandra just wrote me an email apologizing and for some reason PayPal'd me 25 pounds and 67 cents. I think, I'm pretty sure. 25 pounds and 67 cents. Anyway, thank you for weighing in. I'm confused on the PayPal from Sandra's part because it doesn't seem like it covers anything. It just seems like change.
Maybe it's the paternity test.
25 pounds?
Maybe prices are different in UK. I'm assuming since it's pounds.
That's crazy. If that's a difference in price, that's crazy. But I feel like the email is not authentic. It's not genuine. I feel like it's now over. She lost her relationship. It seems like husband broke up with her. And now she's just here because she just wants a friend. The same friend she alienated and accused of cheating. So let's see some of the comments. First comment from Foggy Days. Not the a-hole. The wedding is off because she accused her fiance of infidelity and then insulted yours and her fiance's culture by implying that women from said culture are slutty or have no respect for relationships. Maybe she shouldn't be an insecure racist. I kind of feel like Sandra just created her own problem and it blew up in her face. Another comment from Dry Receptionist. Wait, oh, sorry, I made that up. Sorry, username is Dry Reception. Not the hole. The wedding is off because she was an insecure, jealous friend who accused you of cheating on your husband with her fiance because she was delusional AF. She then had the audacity to try to hug you. Oh, she then had the audacity to be racist when you stuck up for yourself. She then had the audacity to try to use your place for her venue. She then had the audacity to cry and beg you. That's a lot of audacities, commenter. There's one more though. She then had the audacity to blame you for her doom engagement falling through. And yet you're the one asking if you're in the wrong? No, just no. Enjoy your newfound peace without her in your life. I agree. It's so weird to me though that this is a friendship for over 20 years and it makes me feel like, man, it's hard to know people. Although I'm wondering if Sandra maybe made comments that Andres and OP looked alike before because no one seems surprised that she's like, oh, yeah, you guys look alike. Everyone's just kind of acknowledging that fact. Or maybe it's a known fact that Andres and OP just look like siblings.
I mean, I can't get past the fact that since they look alike, right?
Yeah. Her understanding of biology is interesting.
Right. I just boggles my mind.
She went, no, your daughter should look more like your husband, but your daughter looks more like you, and you look like Andres. So therefore, Andres is the father.
Yeah, I mean,
them looking alike is one thing, but maybe the fact that Andres knew OP first before Sandra, some people are weird like that. Like they feel weird if they're dating someone or their partner someone who their best girlfriend or whomever knew for way longer before. Some people are weird. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Although I have to say, OP, if you're taking new applications for besties, I'd like to submit my name in for the running. I promise not to come at you with random paternity tests. And if you end up hosting something at your finca with the 10 rooms, I'd love to see it. All right. I hope you guys are ready for this one. This one is our wild pick. Now, if you haven't listened to another episode before, wild picks are basically just that. A random pick of the story, usually one that stood out to me for some odd reason. Sometimes they're a little bit crazy, sometimes they're a little bit silly, so let's get into it. This one is from the subreddit AITAH. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my neighbor borrow my dog for her wedding photos? So this is one of those situations where I can't believe I'm even writing it, but here we are. I, 26-year-old female, have a golden retriever named Bailey. Bailey is pretty much the sweetest dog on the planet. Super friendly, loves everyone, and has that perfect golden fur that looks great in photos. Aw, I love golden retrievers. They used to be my dream pet. Like, I always picture growing up, I wanted a golden retriever. They're so fluffy and they're cute. And they're basically the best sidekick in every movie when you think about it. Labrador retrievers, golden retrievers. I love that their name is Bailey too. It just sounds like such a nice dog name. All right, OP says, my neighbor Karen, yes, that's actually her name, I'm not making it up, is getting married in a few weeks. We're not close and we've always been on friendly terms, small talk in the hallway, exchanging cookies during the holidays, that sort of thing. A few days ago, Karen knocks on my door and asks if she can come in to talk. I thought it was something important, but instead, she starts gushing about how beautiful Bailey is and how she would perfectly match her wedding color scheme. I was a little confused, but thanked her for the compliment, thinking that was it. But then she drops the bomb. She asked if she can borrow Bailey for her wedding photos. When I say borrow, I mean she wanted to take Bailey to her wedding venue, dress her up in some floral dog collar, and have her pose with the bridal party for a few hours. She even said it would mean the world to her and that Bailey would get to be part of something truly special. She promised to take good care of her and I could pick her up afterwards. I'm kind of weirded out by this. The way Karen, the fact that her name is actually Karen takes me out, but the fact that Karen just kind of wants to borrow someone's pet, someone's dog as a prop rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. Am I overthinking it? I think it's different if she wanted to also invite OP and Bailey to the wedding and say, hey, I'd love you both to come to the wedding and I'd love to take pictures with you. Then that feels more inclusive to me. But this one feels distinctly like, hey, can I use your dog as a cute photo op prop and dress him up in a little costume? It just feels wrong. Opie says, I was stunned. I tried to explain that Bailey isn't just some prop she can use for a photo shoot. She's my dog, my family. Plus, Bailey gets anxious around large groups of people she doesn't know. And I wasn't comfortable with the idea of her being away from me in this strange place. Karen didn't take this well. She started getting upset, saying that I was being selfish and that it's just a few hours. She said she's always admired Bailey and thought it would be the perfect touch to have her in the photos. When I still said no, she accused me of ruining her wedding dreams and stormed out of my apartment. I'm so confused. So Opie's selfish because she doesn't want to let some person who's essentially a stranger or acquaintance, right, take her dog in a high stress environment to use as a prop? What? See, Karen strikes me as the type of person who has already assumed that the world will say yes no matter what she says, just because she says so and just because she wants it to be. And so the idea of saying no to something that she requested is supposed to be a favor is world shattering. I mean, it's a little dramatic, right? To say, oh no, you've ruined my wedding dreams because I can't have your dog for the day. That's weird. She didn't even offer to pay her for the dog's service or anything like that. So it's not like this is a transaction. It's just, it sounds like a demand disguised as a favor. Opie continues, the next day, I got a call from one of our neighbors who said Karen was telling everyone that I was being completely unreasonable and that I was holding my dog hostage just to spite her. Apparently, she even tried to get another neighbor to talk to me about it, as if that would change my mind. Now, a few people in our building are giving me weird looks, and I overheard someone saying, I should just let her have the dog for a day. What's the big deal? I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my neighbor borrow my dog for her wedding photos? That is so weird. I'm just imagining little Karen over here is running to everyone's door, going to all the ladies or dudes, whomever will listen, and talking about how I can't believe she won't give me her dog. Does this even sound like a sane sentence to someone?
Yeah, I wonder what Karen is actually telling these neighbors. Because most normal people would, yeah, I don't want to pimp out my dog, right?
That's what she wants. Oh
And I
my
would just take
God.
it, if someone told me if I was even entitled enough to think that I could ask someone to borrow their dog. If someone said no, I would just take it as a no. Like, why are you entitled? Why do you think you're entitled to that? That to me
That's
seems strange.
It's the entitlement. It's just so weird. The quote kills me. Quote, Karen said that she was, quote, holding my dog hostage just to spite her. How egotistical do you need to be to think that the world revolves around you to the point where you think someone's just saying no because to spite you specifically, to end your day, to ruin your wedding? It is so weird.
I mean, Karen's being a Karen here.
Karen's being a Karen. I think Karen's a hole, but I also think the other people in the building who are kind of giving OP the weird looks and pressuring OP to give up her dog for a day, they're a-holes too. They're
Well,
feeding into it.
yeah, but that's the thing. We don't know what Karen is telling those neighbors. For all you know, she's spinning the story and adding some
Like
extra
context that
details
isn't
or
there.
context or yeah, something there that is not true or made up.
Maybe you have to be. It's very weird. Although I do know, I feel like there are some people who might look at this situation and say, oh, just be nice. It's her wedding. Why don't you just let her have it? Some people do have that mindset though, that they think someone else should just give up what they have or do something just because it's someone else's day or someone else's moment. I don't really agree with that idea. I think wedding or no wedding, it's still her dog, it's still her choice. How would you feel? Because we have two cats, guys, Beanie and Mango. Oh, well, you guys, sometimes they're on the episode, but I'll spawn some photos for you guys. So Beanie is a very shy, I say she's pretty much a scaredy cat, a sweetheart, but scaredy cat, Beanie, brown tabby. And Mango's kind of like the sassy, cute, outgoing, sweet orange tabby. But I'm just picturing Beanie if one of her friends were to say, hey, or even our neighbor were to say, hey, can I just have your cat for the day? I'm going to put her in costumes. I'm going to take pictures of her. I'll return her to you. But remember, you're also not invited to the wedding, but your cat is. Would you say yes?
Absolutely no.
I think I'd be stunned. I think I would have a moment where I would just stare at them and just be speechless and need to process the nonsense. I can't imagine us ever doing that. Although I can barely imagine our cats in costume. They don't tolerate that well either. So, first comment from Feeling the Mode. Not the a-hole, what a weirdo, and your neighbors are weird too. Another comment from Chelsea Uber. Not the a-hole, Team Bailey all the way, protect that pup's peace. I agree. I think even take into account too, regardless of whether or not Bailey the dog is anxious around people, it's OP's decision to make. She shouldn't need to have some sort of excuse to not want to have her dog work someone's wedding. Pretty cut and dry for me.
Yeah,
It's like OP's obviously not the a-hole.
yeah. How could OP be an a-hole here?
All right. Our next story is from the subreddit, Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not telling my husband's family that I speak their language? My husband, Peter, 29-year-old male, and I, 27-year-old female, have been married for about 3 years. We have one child together, and I was pregnant with our second. I'm Western Canadian while he's from Germany. We lived in Canada for a long time, but because of inflation, moving back to Germany seemed like a better option for us. We bought a nice house in Hanover. We bought a nice house in Hanover, where Peter's from. The day after our flights to Germany, we all visited Peter's family. This was the second time I'd seen them. The first was at our wedding. They greeted us and brought us inside of the house, fussing over my son. We had dinner and soon we left the house, wanting to settle into our new home. We visited Peter's family often for the next few months, but I'd started to realize that they would sometimes speak about me in German. They would make rude comments on my hair and makeup, question my fashion choices, and overall were just very unkind to me. They also said mean things about my pregnant belly, which I was already insecure about. Oh, this is like every, I guess I want to say interracial couples or even just interracial friendships' worst fear. Or the stereotype is that you're the only one not speaking the language in a group, whether it's family or friends, and they're saying mean things about you. No, I feel so bad for OP already. I'm hoping the story will end with some sort of redemption, with some sort of hey, and maybe some cool, sassy clap back to the family or something. Opie says, I ended up talking to my husband about this. I told him that I didn't like the way that they were treating me. I said that I hated how my every choice was judged. He told me that he would talk to his family. The next time that we went to his parents' house, there were no more mean comments. For about 3 months, it was like nothing ever happened. I gave birth to a perfect baby girl that we named Lilith. Peter's family was very upset when they heard the name. If you didn't know, Lilith means ghost or of the night. We didn't pick this name because of its meaning, but because it's a name that every girl in my family has had for many years. My middle name is Lilith, along with my mom's, my grandma's, and even my great grandma's. For a while, I didn't visit my in laws. I didn't want to hear them talk about how I shouldn't have named my daughter Lilith. But yesterday, we saw them again. It was my mother in law's birthday. As soon as we showed up, things started to go badly. Everybody wanted to hold Lilith, which made my mother in law upset because people weren't paying attention to her and made me overwhelmed. I didn't want people holding her. I was going through a pretty bad postpartum depression, and it was still pretty early to see people. I let people look at her, but declined when anyone asked to hold her. During dinner, I heard my sister-in-law talking to my mother-in-law in German. I heard her complaining about how she couldn't hold my baby. My sister-in-law even had the audacity to call me, and I quote, a fat, ugly, hokey addict. I turned to my sister-in-law and mother-in-law and told them off in German. I basically said that I had always known what they have said about me, but calling me names was the last straw. I also mentioned how I have known German for almost my whole life. The table instantly blew up. People were yelling at me because apparently this was all my fault. I left with Peter and we haven't talked to him since. So, am I the a-hole?
Heck no.
That's so crazy. I'm so mad for OP. So I know the feeling of not knowing the language in a group of friends or family. And I think it's intimidating. I don't assume people are going to say bad things about me. I think it's more so the feeling of being isolated, of not being able to join in the conversation and converse. There's a saying 70% of communication is through the body language. I call BS. We use so much verbal language. It's very apparent when you're not able to converse with someone in a language that you guys both speak. So I can have empathy with OP on the sense of feeling isolated. But on top of that, for them to confirm her isolation even worse and ostracize her by making all these jabs at her from the very beginning, that's so mean. Do you have to go mean girl about it? They're commenting on her hair, makeup, fashion choices. This is someone that your son and your brother brought home and to introduce as a partner. How could you, even if they didn't understand? I think it says a lot about their character if they're going around and making these comments about someone who's joining their family. Come on. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of pissed off at Peter, the husband.
Yeah, same. I think you're pissed off for the same reason.
Yeah? Why are you pissed off at him?
I think I'm pissed off at him because he most likely overheard those conversations and understood what they were saying, and he didn't step in or didn't tell anything to OP, which to me is, I mean, OP's husband is an a-hole here too,
Yeah.
because he just let it
He,
happen and basically said nothing about it.
I think he fueled it by him standing by and acting like he
Yep.
didn't know or he didn't do anything. It resulted in the kind of bomb that blew up now. It pisses me off that it took the wife saying something. Now, I'm wondering, did Peter know that OP could speak German? Because in a way, I think that would make him looking worse. Because that
Yeah.
would mean he knew that wife heard and felt all these things and then chose not to do anything until she spoke up and was like, hey, I feel really bad when we go to your family's house because they keep saying this stuff. And then he chooses to say something. I'm kind of rolling my eyes at the mom too, because the in laws sound a little bit dramatic, kind of mean girls. Because mom is pissed that her birthday, people care about the baby. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just the way life is. People are going to care about the newborn baby more than a grown woman's birthday. Usually that's the case. I don't know. Fact of life. The fact that sister-in-law then is complaining about not being able to hold the baby. The baby is not a toy. I don't know how to say this. It's not a shiny new object that everyone's entitled to see. In my opinion, if mom says, hey, we're just looking today, we're just meeting her, we're not holding her, that should be the end of it. Why do you feel offended that you couldn't hold a baby? Also, this is such a weird insult to me. The whole fat, ugly, hokey addict. I'm kind of scared to look up what hokey means. Do I want to know? Maybe I don't want to know.
Aren't they just saying hoagie? Like at least what I'm hearing is hoagie, like a sandwich? No, or
A
is it
fat,
spelled
ugly
differently?
hoagie. That's what you thought that she said?
Well, that's what it sounded to me.
That's messed up. To call someone a fat, ugly hoagie addict? No, it's spelled hokey, like HOKEY.
Okay, I have no idea
I
what
have
that
no idea
means.
what that means. I will blurp it out if it ends up being something like severe that I just didn't know about, guys. But
I thought you were saying hoagie all
I
along.
thought all this time they were called hoagie addict. Oh, that's a new one. I don't know which insult's worse. Oh, one final thing to blow up about for me. I love how the instant they found out that OP could speak German, they instantly said, "This is all your fault. Why didn't you tell us?" I bet you they said, "Why didn't you tell us you knew German?"
Come on.
Oh my God. I would to be in that room. I would love to be in that room and see their faces the minute OP is calling them out in German and screaming at them. And they're like, shock Pikachu faces. Ah, I hate that Peter didn't say anything, that OP still had to speak up. Come on, defend your wife and newborn child, man. Let's see. First comment from Watching Telly Now. And you're living in Germany? Do they really think you wouldn't learn the language of the country where you live? A commenter, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. A lot of people do live in countries where they don't speak the language. Commenter says, they have been extremely rude to you and about you. You are definitely not the a-hole. I think your husband needs to grow a shiny spine. As soon as they started and should have told them off instantly. So he's a bit of an a-hole, or at the very least, a total wuss. He's both. I think he's both. Ew. There's a comment defending husband. Ew, I'm sorry. I'm judging. Commenter says, Yasmin Yield. Marriage can be overwhelming sometimes. Imagine people who are supposed to protect you from external threats are now the ones causing it. And then another person said, imagine being a child growing up in it and not knowing any different. What? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm drinking from a different Kool-Aid, from a different juice jug. But husband is 29. 29 as an adult who's lived overseas. Hello? He's lived overseas and has socialized with other people. You should have some level of awareness that, hey, I may have grown up in this environment, but this is not the way that people should be treated. I get if you're influenced in a way of, oh, you might pick up language and culture and customs from people you grow up with, but to defend, this feels like they're defending husband here is, oh, they grew up in it and not knowing any different.
Yeah, that's not an excuse. Yeah, you might have grown up in that situation, but you're an adult now, right?
Yeah,
You
he's
should realize that
29.
that was not okay. It doesn't take even being an adult to realize that that's not okay to basically,
It's not right to treat someone that
talk
way.
crap right in front of someone in different language, which they can't understand. Or
Oh, you know, at first I was only pissed about them talking about her. But when you mentioned they're talking about her on purpose and badly in front of her on purpose, it's almost like a double slap, like a backhanded slap, because not only are they insulting you, it's almost like they're making her play the dummy.
yep,
They're like, oh, she's an idiot. They might be laughing at her, like, and saying, oh, nice, welcome to our home. Here's dinner. And then they're just mumbling. I'm just imagining they're mumbling, like calling her names, fat hoagie, things like that in front of her face. That's so nasty. Ugh. Another comment from Astro. Not the a-holes are never wrong. They remain a-holes by refusing to ever take ownership of their own words or actions, so they never have to change. They can be as judgmental and insulting as they want because they're right, and anyone who challenges them must be at fault. So of course it's your fault that they were insulting you. They couldn't possibly have been in the wrong. Sorry you married into a family of a-holes. I'm pissed. The anger, I feel like this is one of those stories that give me residual anger that's just simmering until a boiling point. I feel so bad for Opie, and she's dealing with postpartum depression, and she already felt bad about her current physical state. Come on. So there isn't an update from this, but I really hope that OP is able to have a conversation with her husband and see what his deal is. I'm willing to accept potentially that maybe husband did more defending that we know in OP's post. I hope for OP that's the case, because otherwise she's married to a wuss and a family full of a-holes. And I don't know, this type of behavior, if everyone's okay with it, with walking over OP like that, because I do think once you marry someone, you marry into their family partially, right? You marry into their circle. You're getting to know people in their lives that are part of their lives long term. I feel like if this behavior doesn't change and they're going to be living in Germany and be going over to her husband's home or family home all the time and seeing these people and things don't change, I feel like, say it with me, divorce. Divorce is in the air. It's not love, it's divorce. I'm dropping the judgment. Do you think this is a divorceable offense if it continues?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Ah.
if my partner, in case you would have done the same thing, I think I would have lost a lot of trust.
Have you ever felt weirded out when my family spoke Vietnamese and you didn't get it?
Not exactly. I mean, I would hope that what you're translating is correct and not, trying to sugarcoat things or
Yeah.
not translate things as they are.
No, I'm kidding. I do. Oh, it's funny because sometimes my parents, well, I'll tell you guys this. So my family is Vietnamese. So at home, we literally, when we have get-togethers, we're all speaking Vietnamese because my parents don't know English very well. And conversely, M speaks another language in English. So you can imagine it's sometimes hard to carry conversation back and forth. Lucky for M, I used to work as an interpreter, and I think I'm pretty good at interpreting in live speed or normal speed interactions. Would you say I'm pretty good?
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah. So I guess partially out of habit and because I wanted M to feel comfortable when he was meeting my family and we would hang out and stuff, I would translate. It's not something he ever had to ask me to do. It was more so I think it just made sense for me to do. But I remember in some of our initial conversations, my parents would be like, yeah, why are you translating everything? They were never saying anything bad, but they were just surprised. Ooh, they were just surprised that I was literally going line by line, translating all the interactions and the jokes and stuff. None of the jokes were ever about you, but yeah,
Hmm.
none of
Sure.
them were.
I'm just kidding.
Time for our last story.
Already?
Yeah, it felt fast. This one felt so fast. Maybe because a lot of stories, there wasn't as much of an update. I feel like a lot of these are quick burns. Instead of a slow burn, I feel like they were kind of very conclusive, but they leave me so angry because I don't feel like there's a true happy ending or conclusion. I'm hoping our next one does. So our last story is from the subreddit AITH from Impossible Ferret. I like some of these usernames. I don't know if some of these are picked or if they're just automatically generated like that, but they're pretty catchy, pretty creative. So the story goes, am I the a-hole for throwing a celebration party after learning I'm not the father to my ex-girlfriend's baby? Instead of the slogan from one of those reality TV shows or one of those shows where it's like, you're the father, in my head it played, you're not the father. OP says, so I, 28-year-old male, have been getting a lot of shit from my family for this. I dated my girlfriend, Emma, 28-year-old female, for about 3 years. My family really loved her, like it was clear they wanted us to get married. And truth be told, I figured it was heading that way too. Well, things took a sudden turn when she unexpectedly announced she was pregnant. This came as a shock to me given that we both use birth control.
Clearly not.
We know where this is going. I asked her if she'd consider an abortion, and she refused. When she broke the news to my family, they were ecstatic. Oh,
Ecstatic?
ecstatic. I don't know what I was. I just made up a whole word there. They were ecstatic. My mom and dad were. Stop laughing.
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic. I'm pretty sure. Is that even a word? I think I just made that up.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. They were ecstatic. My mom and dad were overjoyed that they'd be having a grandchild. My two sisters, 23-year-old female and 32-year-old female, were also going crazy over it. Basically, they had the opposite reaction to me. I began preparing to man up, but really didn't want to. Well, after I'd come to terms with it, I was pretty much resigned to the situation. So I supported her. However, I couldn't help but feel weird given that we'd both taken measures to prevent this. I ended up snooping through her phone, and lo and behold, she had been cheating on me. I'm not that surprised. I'm
Nope.
so far not that surprised. OP says, I was devastated, but as effed up as it sounds, kind of prepared for it. This wasn't the first time I'd been cheated on. I confronted her and she broke down in tears. You know, the usual typical cheater routine. I'm honestly effing tired of it, so I demanded a paternity test. I knew it was possible to get them during pregnancy. They're just expensive. I expected her to put up resistance, but surprisingly, she didn't. I don't know why, but I guess she really thought if she agreed to this, then it would make me trust her more or something. A risk on her part, but I'm effing glad it went through. It came back as not mine. I am relieved for OP. I love hearing a story where for once the dude finds out or the partner finds out not 30 years into the marriage or not 20 years or 10 years after the kids all grown up and things are all complicated with the relationships and that he found out earlier on. I'm also kind of feeling devastated for OP in a different way because the way he writes this, he says, "This wasn't the first time I've been cheated on. I'm tired of it. The usual typical cheater routine." OP, are you okay? How many relationships have you been in that you've been cheated on? You don't sound okay. This sounds very much like a whole, uh, like a casual Sunday for you. And this seems like a lot of drama. So OP continues. Her reaction to the news was to break down, but my reaction was pure bliss and relief. Since then, I've cut her off and just went on with my life. I often switch between being depressed as F by her cheating to just dancing around in happiness. So recently, I decided to throw a bit of a celebration. My parents were cool with me doing this at their place. My place is too small to throw a decent get together. So I invited a bunch of my buddies, 6 to 7 of us, to celebrate. We had pizza, balloons, drinks, etc. It looked like a birthday party. My buddies even got me a cake which says, "You are not the father," as a joke. We all celebrated. Well, my sisters are also staying over at my parents' place for a while, and when they came back, they asked what was going on. I told them it's a celebration for me finding out I'm not the father. They already knew I'd learned I wasn't, but their response after the party was to say that my celebration was trashy and gross. I don't understand why they're coming at me like that. Am I the a hole over this? I know I asked for a happy ending. This, I mean, he literally threw a celebration. So I guess, yeah, our last three is happy, all right. At least OP's happy. I'm kind of scared for him in a way because it seems like his mood swings are like either absolute pure bliss or devastating depression. Uh, man, OP, your mood. But you know what? I don't think he's an a hole for throwing a celebration. Because think about it. He was almost saddled with, to be honest, the responsibility of a life that he wasn't responsible for. He was almost saddled with a lifetime obligation to care for a child that he didn't want and did not contribute to. So I think, in a way, yeah, I think you should celebrate.
Yeah, I'm somewhat conflicted about this. I think I'm mostly on the OP side that you should be able to celebrate, but at the same time, to what extent? Because if you're gonna, I don't know, for example, it would be posting all like the videos and photos on the social media and then tagging the cheating girlfriend, and I would feel some sort of way about the OP because then you're kind of taking a little bit too far. But I think
Yeah.
if it's just his close friends and they're really doing this to make the OP feel better, to kind of get over it, I think that is okay.
If he had posted, I think it passes the line because I think it comes off insensitive to other people, because not just his girlfriend, but other potentially pregnant or struggling to conceive or whomever, you never know who might see it. I think it comes off as a big a-hole move to everybody else. He's allowed to. No one's saying he isn't, because, you can post whatever you want on the internet, right? But I feel like some things, there are consequences. I'm glad that he's keeping it private. I don't understand how his family's kind of coming at him, though. His sisters are saying that's gross and trashy. I don't think so. I think it's kind of odd, yes, because most people would not throw a "I'm not the father" party with balloons and stuff and get a cake. But I think they're kind of discounting the fact that he was honestly devastated when he found out, because he took responsibility and used birth control. He was prepared to man up had there been a child that was his, even if he didn't want to be a father. I don't think there's anything wrong with realizing you're not ready to be a father, and you are kind of having all this pressure welled up of, hey, you got to man up and take responsibility now. And then just having it kind of, whew, okay, that wasn't for me. I don't have to take responsibility. Also, OP kind of glossed over this, but I don't think the party was just for him not being a father. I think it's also the breakup and him being cheated on. He glosses over it
Yeah.
pretty briefly, but it's not the first time. And I don't know that someone who's truly celebrating so lightheartedly would say, oh yeah, I'm effing depressed, or I'm blissful.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like cope.
Yeah, to me, it still seems that the parents and potentially the sister are still somewhat on the side of the OP's girlfriend here, or that they're not over her, or it's still kind of like her at this point.
That's a popular trope, and you see a lot in sitcoms and stuff, where the family of someone will love their partner so much and have like a favorite girlfriend or a favorite partner, favorite boyfriend, whoever. Almost like instead of golden child, I guess, like a golden partner that was brought home that everybody loves. But then when they break up, and I guess the family kind of breaks up with the partner as well. Well, for the most part. I don't think the family's gotten over the weird ending of their relationship. And so it's hard. I feel like it can be hard to get over your own relationship breaking up if your family and your sisters are kind of not over it, which is kind of weird. I feel like they should just back OP. So let's see what comment says. From Swimming Program 6530. Not the a-hole. What's trashy and gross is someone trying to pass off their affair baby as yours. Finally, a post where the father finds out the paternity early instead of years later. Oh, and congratulations. Also, okay, I didn't say this before. Sisters are a little bit of an a-hole for not backing OP up, but cheating ex is for sure a huge a-hole, because she was ready to saddle him with an affair baby and not say anything. I think she agreed to the test because she thought the OP would just back off, like just quietly go, oh no. She said yes, so she must not have anything to hide. Or maybe she's just dumb. I don't know. I don't know why she agreed to the paternity test knowing that it wasn't his, but ultimate a-hole award goes to cheating ex. Another comment from Mixmaster XB says a lot about his own sisters. You now know how to operate, my guy. Be careful of what you say to your sisters and the energy they bring around you. His post made me smile, but being both depressed at times and dancing with joy. Lol. Sounds like a proper functioning human to me. Aw, I kind of agree with this. I would dub this story a happy ending. Wouldn't you?
I mean, the story is kind of sad.
No, it's very sad. But at least he's throwing a party. He's surrounded by friends, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the happy part of it.
Yeah. I'm glad even if his sisters don't support him, at least he has friends that do. The fact that they got him a cake that says, "You're not the father" is hilarious to me. That's a nice touch. So there are no other updates, but OP, I hope that in your next relationship, you find someone who truly values you and loves you, and hopefully isn't cheating on you or trying to pass off an affair baby to you. So that was our last story. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and smash subscribe. If you're listening to me on Spotify, don't forget to give me 5 stars. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.